Title: Satyam Computer Services Fraud, 2009, India. There are moments in history when success shines so bright, it blinds everyone around it. And then, in one quiet morning, the truth breaks through, sharp, cold, and devastating. Satyam Computer Services. Once the pride of India's tech revolution, a company that stood shoulder to shoulder with the giants of Silicon Valley. Its founder, Ramalinga Raju, was hailed as a visionary, a man who had put India on the world map of software excellence. But behind that shining curtain of success was a secret. A secret so dark, so meticulously built, that when it finally came out, it shook an entire nation's faith in corporate honesty. This is the story of the rise and fall of Satyam, the story of how one man built an empire on sand, and how it all crumbled in front of millions. Before the scandal, before the lies, there was only a dream. Ramalinga Raju was born in 1954, in a small farming family in Andhra Pradesh. He wasn't born into power or privilege, but he carried something else. A hunger to build, to prove, to rise. After studying business in the United States, Raju returned to India with eyes full of ambition. The country was changing. Technology was opening doors no one had imagined. In 1987, Raju founded Satyam Computer Services, which means truth in Sanskrit. At first, it was small, a modest software company working for international clients. But in the 1990s, India's IT sector exploded, and Satyam rode that wave. Clients from around the world started outsourcing their projects to India, and Satyam became one of the fastest-growing firms in the country. By the early 2000s, it wasn't just another company. It was the company. Raju was celebrated as a genius, appearing in magazines, business conferences, and even rubbing shoulders with global leaders. But behind every empire built too quickly lies the risk of cracks hidden beneath the paint. And Raju's empire was no exception. The 2000s were Satyam's golden years. Thousands of employees, offices across the world, billions in contracts. Investors were happy, employees proud, and the stock market absolutely in love. Every quarter, Satyam announced dazzling profits. Every year, its numbers seemed unstoppable. But the truth was something else entirely. Raju had begun something small, a little adjustment to meet targets, a small overstatement to impress investors. Just this once, perhaps, he told himself. But one lie needs another to survive. Soon, the books of Satyam were full of ghosts, fake invoices, imaginary employees, and bank accounts that didn't exist. The company was making less than half of what it claimed. Yet, on paper, it looked perfect. It was an illusion of success, built with precision and secrecy. And every year that passed made it harder to turn back. Raju's fake numbers fooled not just investors, but auditors, regulators, and global partners. He had become trapped in his own creation. A puppet master caught in his own strings. By 2008, the world was already shaken by the global financial crisis. Markets crashed, investors panicked, and every company's numbers were under scrutiny. Satyam, too, began to face questions. Raju, desperate to keep the illusion alive, tried one last bold move. He announced that Satyam would buy Midas Infrastructure and Midas Properties, two companies owned by his own family. It was a move that confused everyone. Why would a software company suddenly buy real estate? The announcement sent shockwaves. Investors were furious. Within hours, Satyam's stock price began to collapse. The deal was cancelled. And for the first time, Raju felt the ground beneath him crumble. He knew the truth could not be hidden much longer. In December 2008, Raju made a decision that would change everything. He could not keep up the lie anymore. His numbers, his empire, his truth had become unbearable. On January 7, 2009, the corporate world woke up to a confession unlike any other. A letter, written by Raju himself, arrived at the Satyam board and regulators. In it, he admitted what no one could have imagined. Raju confessed that he had falsified accounts of over $1.47 billion. He had inflated profits, created fake employees, and built a company's reputation on nothing but numbers on paper. "It was like riding a tiger," he wrote, "not knowing how to get off without being eaten." The world stopped. The Indian stock market fell like a stone. Investors lost billions. Thousands of employees faced uncertainty. And the man once called a visionary became the face of India's biggest corporate fraud. Raju was arrested within days. The dream was over. After the confession, India's corporate world went into panic. How could such a huge fraud go unnoticed for years? Where were the auditors? The regulators? The board? The Indian government moved fast. It dissolved Satyam's board and appointed new members. The auditing firm PricewaterhouseCoopers came under fire for missing the fraud. Investigations began, deep, detailed, and relentless. Raju and several executives were charged with cheating, forgery, and conspiracy. Years of trials followed. But while the legal wheels turned slowly, another story was unfolding, one of hope and repair. Satyam's story didn't end with destruction. In 2009, India's government stepped in to protect thousands of employees and clients. The company was put up for sale, and soon, Tech Mahindra, another Indian IT firm, bought it. Satyam was reborn as Mahindra Satyam. Under new leadership, it regained stability and dignity. By 2013, Mahindra Satyam merged with Tech Mahindra, marking the end of one of the most dramatic chapters in corporate India. Raju, meanwhile, spent years in courtrooms and jail cells, his empire gone, his name forever scarred. In 2015, he was convicted and sentenced to prison, though later released on bail. The man who built a dream out of truth had destroyed it with lies. The Satyam scandal wasn't just about one man's greed. It was a mirror, showing what happens when ambition loses sight of honesty. It forced India's companies to rethink corporate governance. New laws were born. Auditing standards tightened. Investors learned to question, not just celebrate. And somewhere, in the echoes of that confession letter, the world was reminded, truth, once broken, cannot be rebuilt with numbers. It must be lived, every day. Ramalinga Raju once said he was riding a tiger. Maybe he thought he could control it, that he could make the lie serve the dream. But the tiger always eats. The story of Satyam is not just about fraud. It's about the fragile line between success and deception, about the choices that define a man, and the empire that crumbles when truth is betrayed. This was the rise and fall of Satyam, India's Enron, born from ambition, destroyed by illusion.